And we are on to week 26, day 1. You know what? It's been a while. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a pat on the back, a standing ovation, a round of applause, whatever it takes. You have been faithful, you have been faithful, you have been faithful, and we are now on to week 26. We are almost halfway through reading the Bible this year. Well, here we are, day 1, and we're going to continue in the stories of the kings of the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. Specifically, as today we look at 2 Kings chapter 5 verse 1 through chapter 18 verse 15. Now, despite the fact that there are a number of evil kings, we've seen the bad kings over and over again, not because they weren't successful politically or in war or things like that, but their value, their worthiness, so to speak, is judged on whether or not they follow God. Yet, despite even the evil kings, God remains faithful to the covenant that God had made first with Abraham and then with David, and judges the sin accordingly. In the stories that we read today, we go back and look at the prophet Elisha. Not Elijah with a J, but Elisha, an S-H. And it includes, again, one of my favorite stories, that of Naaman. Naaman is not even an Israelite. He's not a Hebrew, but rather the general in charge of another kingdom. And yet he comes down with leprosy, which would ostracize him from society and would prevent him from being able to do his duty. And so Naaman is given permission to go to Israel by his own king upon the recommendation of a servant girl in his own household who says that the prophet would be able to heal him. And what we find is that indeed Naaman is healed when he is willing to let go of his own prejudices and ego and follow through with what the prophet has to tell him. Now, Elisha's stories also include that of a battle against another foreign country, another foreign kingdom. And in this, we see that there is great fear because the foreign army seems so much larger and likely to annihilate their own. And yet, Elisha remains calm in the face of this danger, and he points out to his servant, and his servant's eyes are ultimately open to seeing that the horses and chariots of God are surrounding that foreign army and prepared to save the people of God. God remains faithful even when God's people fail to be. Hopefully, we will find it in ourselves to be faithful to God, worthy of God's love, and gracious and thankful for the fact that God loves us even when we're not.